Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtle in a Half Shell, Turtle Power. Hello guys, what's the draw here? Back at it again with another video, and today we're going to be reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I had my eyes on this movie for a while. I heard that Seth Rogen would be working on it, and I really like his work, so I wanted to see what he was going to do with the Turtles. The last Turtle show was Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that was airing on Nickelodeon. The animation for that show was really good, but too bad it got cancelled. It only lasted 2 seasons, with the second season getting cut in half. But anyways, back to the movie at hand. I heard when they're developing this movie, they're going to make the Turtles younger, which I was very concerned about. I was like, we never got a really young age Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Most of the time, when we see these turtles, they were like older teenagers or like early adults. Heck, you could say they were stoners and nobody would even question you. Which I think that was a really good choice for them to do in this movie, because it gives them more range to play with new ideas in this movie compared to the other movies, because we give a reason why the turtles are still like acting youngish and acting like children, because like they're still young teenagers, like 13, 14, 15, so they're still immature, they still have things to learn. It makes sense plot wise and story wise why certain issues are probable to arise in the group, and like certain things need to overcome as like young teenagers. This kind of makes Master Splinter in the movie more like a father figure than a sensei, because he views them as his children and not like just like apprentices or like a pupil, because he really have like a loving relationship with them throughout this movie. Not like saying he doesn't have a loving relationship throughout the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series and franchises, but this one he's more like a father than an actual sensei, which I really like. The main conflict of this movie is actually very interesting. So in this movie we have other mutants, which is finally cool, because I really like how they use other characters in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role galleries instead of freaking Shredder all the time. I like Shredder. Shredder will always be the top villain, I would say, but like he is overused in most movies. Most of them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies we see him, and it's mainly Shredder they're fighting. There's other movies they might fight a Krang, and that's most. You don't really see a lot of other mutants. And we get a lot of mutants in this movie. For example, here's a couple of them. We get Mondo Gecko, Wingnut, Rocksteady, and Bebop. Also Superfly, Leatherhead, and many more. Speaking of Superfly, he is the big bad of this movie, you know? In this movie, Superfly want to destroy all the humans because of prejudice that mutants get throughout society. He feels like the only way mutants can be free or live as who they are is to destroy all humans, which I find to be a very interesting conundrum, because this movie is dealing with prejudice and how people can get hyper-radicalized due to that oppression and leads to radical violence and destruction. And you can see this throughout the movie, because Superfly is such a dangerous villain. On the screen when you're watching the movie, every single time you see Superfly on the screen, he means business. There's one scene where he's trying to chase the turtles down in a truck, and it's just super tense with all the other mutants on his side as well. Because it's not just Superfly that the turtles have to go against, it's all the other mutants that they find out in the movie. Because it's very interesting. The turtles had never met any other mutants, and the mutants that they found are against them, and they want to destroy humans, and they leave the turtles in an interesting situation. Be like, should we really help humans? Because the humans don't accept us as well. And if we destroy all the humans, we can live in a better society, which is a very interesting conundrum. Which leads us to April O'Neil. April O'Neil in this movie shows us that the good in humanity, and how not everybody in the human race is a terrible person, what goes against Superfly's philosophy. In this movie, April O'Neil is a high school student, and she's an upcoming reporter who wants to get the latest scoop in her community in New York City as a whole. I did enjoy her character. She was a nice play off of the turtles, how they were acting very like young boys, and she was like the girl in the group and like questioned their stupidity, you know. She was very outgoing, you know, very intellectual, and like a very bright person. I do find it interesting that they changed how she looked. I don't really care anymore. They've been changing her a lot. I heard in the comic that like she was like racially ambiguous or whatnot, but like I don't really know. I had to do more research about that. You know, the April that I know was originally redheaded, and I really want to see how April would look in this new art style, the one that I remember, but it is what it is. It's up to its artist's interpretation, I guess. What I did enjoy though was the art style. The art style was super good. It was like a gritty comic book feeling. Like, it was like scratches, a coloring book, crayons. You know, it felt like a middle schooler or a young high schooler was really drawing this and animated it. It reminded me of Spider-Verse. I really enjoyed how Spider-Verse impacted the animation community. That animation studios are finally letting animators experiment with their art style and animation style, which I really enjoy. The fighting in this movie was really good as well, surprisingly. And like how they combined the music with how the different turtles were fighting each other, and how it would cut into different montages, how the turtles were fighting different gangs and criminal organizations around New York City. You know, like a lot of older adults can be like, hey, I remember that song from the 80s, or I remember that song, you know, and the kids can like it as well, be like, oh my gosh, turtles are fighting each other. Super cool. In the ending of the movie though, the turtles got accepted back into human society, which I found to be very interesting. So like now, the turtle can walk around with humans, because at the end of the movie, the turtles were going to high school, and like they were like joining clubs, talking to other humans, working with April, and I'm like, this is a nice spin on like the turtles mythos, because typically throughout the comics, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have to hide in the shadows from humans. But in this universe, the humans accept them. They're not facing any more prejudice, which I find to be very cool and interesting. And now, I heard they're gonna have an animated series based on this show, and I want to know like how they're gonna play off this, because this is a new dynamic. Now the turtle can walk in public, talk in public. So what type of stories or outlines they can do based on this concept? Overall though, I really enjoyed this movie. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Mutant Mayhem was a fantastic movie into the Turtles mythos and series. I think anybody, if you're looking for a new movie to watch, go watch this movie and support it. It really have a nice animation style and a nice story about prejudice and how people from different walks of life overcome that prejudice. If you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, I suggest you check it out when you get the time. And if you're just a fan of animation movies or animated content, it's a good movie to watch with friends and other people just casually if you're not too big into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But the animation, art style, and fight scenes will keep you purely entertained. But hey, if you like this video, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you follow What's the Draw for more news, gaming, and animation content. We can't wait to see you guys again soon. Goodbye.